The moon just got a new visitor, and it's not wearing a NASA badge. For the first time in history, a private American company has successfully landed on lunar soil, marking a turning point that will reshape our relationship with space forever. Stellar citizens, we're not just witnessing a cool tech achievement, we're seeing the birth of an entirely new economy beyond Earth. The second space race is heating up, but this time it's companies and entrepreneurs leading the charge, not just governments with unlimited budgets. The lunar surface is transforming from a distant scientific curiosity into potential real estate, and the implications will reach every corner of our lives. From the technologies we use daily to investment opportunities that could reshape your financial future. In the next few minutes, I'm going to break down how private companies are turning the moon into prime real estate, why your future vacation plans might include lunar destinations, and how these missions might put actual money in your pocket. The space race isn't just for billionaires anymore, it's becoming everyone's business. Let's talk about what just happened, because it's genuinely wild. Firefly Aerospace's Blue Ghost one lander just became the first private American spacecraft to successfully touch down on the lunar surface. Think about this. We went from the Wright brothers' first flight to landing on the moon in just 66 years. Now we've gone from government-only moon missions to private companies doing it in roughly the same time span. The pace of innovation isn't just accelerating, it's going supersonic. The Blue Ghost landed in Mare Crisium, or the Sea of Crises, which is ironically fitting because private space companies have weathered plenty of crises to get here. This 330-pound robotic explorer travelled nearly 250,000 miles to reach its destination. That's like driving around the Earth 10 times, except, in the endless vacuum of space where one tiny mistake means game over. And get this, the mission was part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services program. Translation: NASA is now hiring private companies instead of doing everything in-house. It's like when you decide ordering DoorDash is easier than cooking. Except this delivery went to the moon. But wait, why should you care about some robot hanging out on the moon? Because, stellar citizens, we're witnessing the birth of a completely new economy. Remember how the internet seemed like a weird novelty in the 90s? Why would I need email when I have a perfectly good mailbox? Fast forward 30 years, and the internet powers everything in our lives. The space economy is following the same trajectory. Private lunar missions aren't just scientific endeavors, they're business ventures. Companies like Firefly are proving they can deliver payloads to the moon reliably, which opens up entirely new markets. Think lunar mining, space tourism, off-world manufacturing, and technologies we haven't even imagined yet. Recent analysis from Space News shows we're only at the beginning stages of a true lunar economy. We need 4 key components to get there: transportation infrastructure, communication networks, power systems, and resource utilization. Blue Ghost's landing is knocking down that first domino, proving reliable transportation is possible. The rest will follow faster than you think. Morgan Stanley estimates the global space industry could generate revenue of more than $1 trillion by 2040. For comparison, that's about the same as the entire global tourism industry pre-pandemic, except this tourism involves, leaving the planet. And here's where you come in. As this industry grows, so do investment opportunities, jobs, and technologies that will eventually make their way into your everyday life. The same way NASA's Apollo program gave us everything from memory foam to cordless vacuums. These private moon missions will spin off innovations that'll change your life right here on Earth. If you think Firefly's big moment means the race is over, think again. We're barely past the starting line, stellar citizens. Intuitive Machines already made history last year with their Odysseus lander. SpaceX is working on Starship, which could eventually carry humans back to the lunar surface. Japan's ISpace unfortunately crashed their lander last year, but is gearing up for round 2. Even countries like India and China are accelerating their lunar ambitions. And speaking of China, experts are warning NASA that the bureaucratic pace of decision-making could cost America in the new moon race. According to recent space reports, China is moving fast with its lunar ambitions, planning to put taikonauts on the lunar surface by 2030. Meanwhile, NASA's Artemis program keeps facing delays. This isn't just about national pride, it's about who sets the rules for the future lunar economy. This isn't just healthy competition. It's a full-blown lunar gold rush. And unlike the 1960s space race, which was all about planting flags and proving political systems, this one is about establishing sustainable operations and, eventually, profitability. It's like watching the early days of smartphones all over again. Remember when BlackBerry was king? Then Apple showed up, then Android, and suddenly everyone was innovating at warp speed. The same thing is happening with lunar missions, each company pushing the others to go further, faster and cheaper. The best part? We all win when companies compete like this, technologies improve, costs come down, and eventually what seems extraordinary today becomes ordinary tomorrow. Just like how commercial air travel went from luxury to commonplace, space travel is on the same trajectory. Now let's get real for a second. Landing on the moon is ridiculously difficult. There's a reason they call it rocket science. The Blue Ghost mission faced challenges that would make your worst Monday look like a beach vacation. Unlike Earth, the moon has no atmosphere to help slow down spacecraft. That means landers have to use powerful rockets to decelerate from thousands of miles per hour to essentially zero, all while calculating the perfect moment to do so. It's like trying to parallel park a car that's travelling at bullet speed, remotely, with a 2.5 second communication delay, and if you tap the bumper, your car explodes. Cool, right? And speaking of communication, that's another massive challenge these missions are tackling. According to Payload Space, NASA and private companies are developing next-gen laser communication systems for the moon. We're talking about technology that uses light beams instead of radio waves to transmit data at speeds up to 100 times faster than current systems. This isn't just for bragging rights, it's essential for streaming high-definition video, controlling rovers in real time, and eventually supporting human presence. Plus, lunar dust is basically tiny shards of glass that can damage equipment, block solar panels, and interfere with electronics. The temperature swings from boiling hot to Antarctic cold as day turns to night, and there's always the risk of micrometeorites, space bullets, hitting your spacecraft at any moment. The fact that private companies are solving these challenges is nothing short of revolutionary. They're doing it with smaller teams and budgets than the government missions of the 1960s, proving that innovation often thrives under constraints. So, where does all this leave us? On the verge of something massive, stellar citizens. The successful Blue Ghost landing isn't just a cool news story, it's a glimpse into our future. Within our lifetime, we could see permanent human settlements on the moon, mining operations extracting valuable resources like helium-3 potential clean energy fuel, lunar tourism for the adventurous and well-funded, manufacturing facilities taking advantage of the moon's low gravity, scientific discoveries that reshape our understanding of the universe and our place in it. This isn't sci-fi anymore. It's the business plan for multiple companies right now. The infrastructure being built today is laying the groundwork for an entirely new branch of human civilization, one that extends beyond our planet. And unlike previous space advances that were locked behind government doors, this new space age is being built by companies that need customers, investors, and public support. That means more opportunities for regular people to participate, whether through careers, investments, or eventually, experiences. The moon has always represented humanity's wildest ambitions, the seemingly impossible goal we somehow achieved. Now it represents something even more powerful, our future. Private companies reaching the lunar surface isn't just a technical achievement, it's a fundamental shift in how we approach space. It's the difference between a government-planned expedition and the wild, creative chaos of entrepreneurship. And history shows us that the latter is where true innovation thrives. If you're as excited about this new lunar economy as I am, now's the time to hit that subscribe button. We'll be covering every major development in this Space Race 2.0, breaking down the opportunities, challenges, and mind-blowing innovations as they happen. For those who want to dig deeper into Firefly's historic Blue Ghost landing, check out the detailed articles from Space News and Payload Space in the description below. They've got all the technical details that space nerds will love. And let me know in the comments, if you could send one item to the moon, what would it be and why? The most creative answer might get featured in our next video.